maldito me la va a deber. Porque yo soy indio, no debo de saberlo. Pasa allá en mi tierra, no debe de suceder. Milicia del masacre, es injusto que no ves. A mi pobre gente que no se lo merece.
We're back.
With my cool shirt. Thank you, my sister. Hello and welcome everyone to the Happenin Show, community grassroots media for the people by the people. I'm Jose Gloria.
I'm Dylan Thompson. We are your hosts tonight.
We are your hosts indeed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's happening.
Is a beautiful thing. It's happening. Is here now. The past, future.
I think. There's hold on.
We have technical problems.
What's happening? Oh,
we are your hosts tonight.
there we go. All right, figured it out.
Oh yeah.
It's happening as a movement of the heart and of the mind. It's the energy of the universe that creates waves inside us and all around us, which allows us to activate, motivate, then elevate vibrationally and intellectually towards love, truth, justice, and wisdom. It's happening in every which way.
It's happening is a culture of empowerment. It's people having the right to exist and participate as equals. It's a dream of what the world could be, but the future we want is only possible if we make it happen. So stand up, get informed, and fight back.
Fight back.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Are you?
That's too much. Oh, yeah. There we go. Soundboard, baby.
That's right. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with us. So we thank you because of you.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, man.
Wow, we're back.
We're back after
a little bit.
Yeah, a couple weeks off.
Little hiatus. Yes.
Yeah, emphasis on the high. Hey, yo.
Woo. Yeah, actually, it's going to be that time, though. The holiday season is coming. It's prone to interruptions, delays, postponements, and adjournments.
Yeah. Of course. But we're happy to be back, and in a little bit we're gonna be with Gustavo Arellano. A friend of the show. So I'm excited for the conversation with him. We're gonna go over all sorts of things, elections, Orange County, statewide.
Yeah.
My God, I am nervous. To say the least.
Good times. That's why we're not going to talk about it.
Let's skip the emotional check-in because I'm an emotional wreck. There will be no discussion of any current events, news, politics. It's all just going to be like, I don't know, what are you going to talk about? Like, can you and Edgar talk about ska or something? And I'll just like do this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that would help relieve the pressure. We could. Yeah. Next election. We'll try next election.
Next election. So let's go ahead and jump into our top story, shall we?
Top stories.
Dylan Thompson.
Starring Dylan Thompson. Actually. Wait, who said that? Okay, so, as we said, election's coming up. We have our pre-election drama. That's typical. You probably heard that Walmart decided not to sell guns, but has since reversed its decisions not to sell guns prior to the election. Freedom, baby.
Freedom. That's right.
I mean, they gave their reasoning. I mean, they said, as the current incidents have remained geographically isolated, we have made the decision to begin returning these products to the sales floor today, said a company spokesperson. What? What do you mean? Wait, so the terrorist attacks are just they're geographically isolated terrorist attacks, right? So, are they talking about politically motivated gun violence? Anyway, I hate to be that spokesperson, Feel good at the end of the day doing your job.
Dude, I'm like, I posted on Facebook not too long ago about, and like created very much a conversation and controversy because I was saying, like, for the first time in my life, I'm legit considering buying a gun. Like I haven't and probably won't like anytime soon, but at the very least, I'm thinking about it, and I'm not alone, as my post, showed. But if you want to buy a gun, you're gonna have to wait in Black Friday type lines, camping overnight, because all the Trump supporters are just like camping out, and yeah, it's really hard to get bullets, apparently.
Zapata had a gun. The Black Panthers had a gun. There is nothing wrong with guns.
Thank you. Oh, wise one.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Mexican in the midst.
Yeah, but that would be a good psychological experiment, though, to have everyone camp outside the Walmart with drastically different political opinions and see what happens overnight.
That's right. I like what Dave Chappelle said in one of his specials. He said, Black people should absolutely, like do the most this election cycle and register for a firearm. It's the only way that things are going to change. Like they're going to like, all right, maybe we do need to restrict, do some,
Whoa, yeah. It's funny how that happens.
Yeah.
In other funny happenings pre-election, the White House is going to be creating a different wall, one around the White House, to prevent anyone from scaling or in the event of civil unrest. And, plenty of governors are deploying the national or like their whatever they need to do, like disaster relief or the National Guard or whatever it happens to be. So we'll see. We'll see how crazy it gets.
Yeah. I mean, nothing is unscalable to brown folks, like looking for a better life. Damn it! Like we will bury under that thing. Like we'll get drones to two of them to carry us over it. Like, we'll figure it out.
Got some amazing engineers in Mexico. I will give you
catapult each other like.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Amazing robotics engineers.
Yeah.
I mean, that is funny though, because in the news story, non-scalables in quotes. So it's like,
yeah, no, exactly. Even the news was like, yeah, that's
yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah, they'll break it apart and add it to their homes, just like they did barbed wiring. It was all over like the border towns of Mexico. Yeah. God bless them. So yeah, of course, more news. Texas ranks highest in total number of COVID-19 cases in the United States, according to AP News. Texas has surpassed California in recording the highest number of positive coronavirus cases, according to Johns Hopkins University. Yeah, so California, the most populous state, has had 938,119. So by 400 cases, they have surpassed this. But yeah, I mean, but also Texas is a state that has lax rules on, on masks, on gatherings, right? I think Trump went there for a bunch of rallies. Of course, Biden tried to go there and was almost literally ran off like the road like crazies. It's insane. Yeah, these Trump caravans with like 20 flags each.
Mad Max out there.
Yeah. So crazy that even the FBI is apparently investigating. So yeah, like Trump's like, they were great. They did nothing wrong.
Freedom fighters.
Yeah. Like, go Texas. Yeah, where everything's big, including like the flags on the big ass trucks with the big ass wheels.
Right.
I mean, everything's bigger in Texas, including the number of Californians that are moving to Texas now.
And infection rates.
Yeah.
But it's not getting better anytime soon, man. It's going to go well into next year. So
people I'm hearing about saying that in Orange County might be shut down yet again. Our numbers are very much not in the danger zone, and so like y'all better enjoy your outings right now, because it's crazy. Especially downtown right now is like was popping this weekend. not a good. But, moving on to our next story.
Yes, so this may be an older story, but we haven't had a show in a little bit. I just want to talk about it. The Breonna Taylor case. The judge's ruling allowed for grand jurors to speak to the public about it, and a couple have anonymously about how the grand jury, the trial went, and they're basically just saying, look, the attorney general, like, they didn't present us with like charges against those officers for the killing of Breonna Taylor. So it's like it would, and typically, the grand juries are guided by that attorney, right? He drives the meeting. And it would kind of be exceptional for them to go against his own advice and then come up with an indictment outside of his advising. So it just shows how this system, grand juries, and how they're often used in like police shooting cases, where you basically get their partner in criminal justice, the DA's officer, whatever the executive attorney's office is, right? And so they work together, and then you're going to have them drive the meeting, where they won't even present charges in many cases. So it's just like points out a problematic part of this system, right? And something we need to look at. So
I've heard people say like it's crazy that Breonna Taylor's case it was the bullets that missed that got the police officer in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So Jesus, and that's and because of the way that it was set up, like I believe and many people believe that justice was not served, and so for that reason and so many more reasons, Black Lives Matter, and they will continue. It'll continue to be a rallying cry across the country. Not what was it a week ago, a few days ago, a Black man that was having a mental health episode. The mother, the family called the police, tried to calm the man down, and the man had a knife, and the man was shot down by police. And it's just like, do not call the police, like on mental health situations. This is why we need mental health experts that can de-escalate a situation. So often is the case, and it just boils my blood and really just breaks my heart that this continues to happen. When we're asking them for help, and all they can do is just escalate the situation. And how many videos have we seen? I can think of at least one clearly when this white man was wielding a knife, and nobody shot him.
Yeah, they figure out how to make that work somehow.
Yeah. So, moving on to equally depressing story.
Yeah.
For our awesome guest here tonight. Invasive surgeries pushed on ICE detainees. So this came out recently, right? And so they've been interviewing some people, and according to democracynow.org, they wanted to take my womb out. The survivor of medical abuse in ICE jail deported after speaking out. So they deported her after she whistle blew. And also, the whistleblower, in that case, I believe it was a Black nurse that was in the facilities where these things were happening. So it's a long article, but been written about it. But in a long story short, at least 19 women, most of whom are Black and Latina, have come forward to allege they were pressured into unnecessary gynecological treatments and surgeries, including procedures that left them sterile, while they were detained by immigration and customs enforcement. So yeah, this story is truly hard.
It gets darker with ICE. It's like putting kids in cages, and having a doctor have free reign and just what it appears to be unnecessarily give hysterectomies to women and other surgeries.
Yeah. And this is not new, as folks that have studied these issues,
right.
Amount of sterilizations and the experiments that were done on women in Nicaragua and Honduras, across Latin America, El Salvador. It's just insane. That our government has done these things to Latin American women and Latin American people in general. It's just really outrageous and should really shock everybody into saying well, this is not okay. And so one of the things that for me really tilted the scale into me, after supporting Bernie, to say no, we need to get Trump out, and we need to get Biden. God knows he's not my choice, and nor the choice of progressives or many folks, especially given the history of the Obama-Biden immigration policy that really laid down the foundation and infrastructure for what was taken to the next level by the very evil and horrible human being named Stephen Miller, and in the Trump administration in general. So it's a dire time for Mexicans, for Mexican American, for Latinos, and so I couldn't think of a better guest to talk about the issues that are affecting Mexis, Latinos, and Latinx folks, and just and all the people that are under the oppressive hand of this regime that is the Trump administration, and but also very important, what's going to happen on the local elections here in Orange County, in LA, in the state, and across the nation. So much is at stake, and so with that, I want to bring on to the show, and which is, you already see his beautiful face, Gustavo Arellano. Gustavo Arellano is a columnist for the LA Times, covering Southern California, everything Southern California, and a bunch of the West and beyond. He previously worked at OC Weekly, where he was the editor-in-jefe, where he was investigative reporter for 15 years and editor for 6. and wrote a column called Ask a Mexican, and is the author of Taco USA, How Mexican Food Conquered America. He's a child of 2 Mexican immigrants, one of whom came to this country in the trunk of a Chevy. Yeah. OC legend, bad hombre, taco connoisseur, and friend of the show. Welcome back, Gustavo Arellano.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Always fun to talk. Too bad we're not doing this in person, but that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
But before we get into the politics, sir, I want to say that, like the Dodgers won. And this was a big deal for a lot of Mexican Americans, Chicanos, all over, because 2 Mexicans were, in the pitching staff, and one, was the one that closed the deal at the end. And you recently gave a foreword for a book called "A Mexican American Baseball in Orange County," right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, what does this mean to Chicanos and Mexican American people?
Well, it's only to the ones who like the Dodgers. Let's not forget there are some, I don't know why they like the Angels, but there are some Angels fans. And then there's even people like Padres fans or Giants fans. So this is specifically to people who, Chicanos, Latinx folks who like the Dodgers. And it's huge. I mean, this is the team that they worship. This is a team that has had the biggest impact on Latin America, on Major League Baseball in Latin America. You had Fernando Valenzuela, yes, but you also had Jaime Jarrín, an Ecuadoriano, an Ecuadorian, as the legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster. You had Mike Brito being the legendary scout, the guy who would wear the Panama hat with the gun standing behind home plate. You had all these Dominicans. I mean, the Dodgers set up the first academies in Latin America. So for Latinos, it's a big, huge thing. And of course, all done on the original sin of building Dodger Stadium on what was a bunch of barrios in Elysian Park. But, many books have been written about that. So go check out those books. So it's a big victory, big victory.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were watching Netflix the other day. I forgot the name of the series, but lo and behold, I was like, hey, I know that guy, Gustavo Arellano.
What the fuck is he doing in my bedroom?
That's right. I'm trying to Netflix and chill. Damn it. But you were in a taco documentary on Netflix, right? What was it called?
The Taco Chronicles, probably.
That's right. Yeah. So how was that?
Well, I mean, for that one, I was in 2 episodes. Taco Chronicles is actually a show about tacos, but made for Mexicanos. So mostly filmed in Mexico, but every once in a while they do stuff up in the United States. So they had me talking in the episode about burritos, and then in the episode about what they call the American taco, which is to say the hard shell taco. So yeah, just quick little ¿cómo se dice? Cameos there. I was a talking head, as they call. I talked about Burrito La Palma, which is in Santana. Originally started in El Monte, but is off of Bristol and what is it? I think it's Santa Ana Boulevard. Whatever south. I always mix them up. Santa Ana Boulevard or Civic Center. I think it's Santa Ana. Yeah, one or the other.
You're near it either way.
Yeah, around there. Just keep going south, basically. And then the other Orange County place that was mentioned was Noggles, not Nalgas, Noggles. Noggles being, not Nalgas, even though everyone calls it Nalgas, which was a spot that was like a better Del Taco. And Del Taco, by the way, is not bad in and of itself, but Noggles was a better Del Taco. So it got brought back by some gabacho a couple of years ago. It's really good. But the OC Weekly offices used to be right next to Noggles' first location in Fountain Valley. And so we used to go eat there all the time without shame,
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I go to different restaurants in Santana, and there, there's a plaque of, OC Weekly writing up about them. I mean, Alebrije, a taco truck right there on Cuban and Main Street, I believe, right there next to Northgate. And I think El Borrego Sagrado, I think another one, right? Like
Hidalguense spot.
Yeah, delicious birria, right? Yeah, so you are definitely as OC legend as it gets around here.
I'm a ghost, man. I might not write about Orange County as much as I used to, or as much as I want to, but my legacy is there. The legacy of the OC Weekly, it's all there. All the haters who try to cancel, it happened.
Damn. Yeah. No, I mean, you've always been a no holds barred, individual. I mean, granted, like, now with, the LA Times, columnist gig, I mean, like perhaps a touch, but still, the very insightful and, and knowledgeable, like a person that you are, historically also, you're just like one of the walking encyclopedias that knows so much of the context of where the story is, right? So it's really been, it's been sad for us here in Orange County to see you leave, but at the same time, like, it's been good to, to see you still continuing, the good fight over at LA Times.
Oh, thank you. Now, I mean, look, I've always been the same. My voice is always going to be the same. It's just told in a different way. And right now at the Los Angeles Times as a columnist, they want me to focus. They do. It's interesting because I say, oh, I don't cover Orange County as much, but I do. I still do a lot of stories about Orange County. And, especially with this column, it's been a little bit different with the columnist role because especially the last month, they just wanted me to focus on the election nonstop. But I did my story. Like the interesting story was I did a profile on the executive director of the Republican Party of Orange County, a guy by the name of Randall Avila, who's a Chicano from Monterey Park. And, people are like, what, Mexican, sellout, whatever. But look, like, this is where the left always messes up. We so easily dismiss our conservative cousins and family members and friends. And then we wonder why Trump won or, won in 2016 or why conservative Latinos still exist. And by mocking them, that's not how you're going to get them to your side, frankly. And he gets it. Like, I hit him up. Like, if you read the column, I hit him up about all the many, many sins that the Republican Party of Orange County has done against Mexicans in its forever lifetime. The fact that they hired someone like this, who was, did offer contrition for the sins of his party's past, that's a start. Do I agree with him at all? No, not at all. I mean, I took him to Alebrijes, actually, and he ordered his tacos de lengua, but homeboy didn't even take me up on my second offer, and he didn't put any salsa on his tacos. So come on, Randall.
All politics aside, come on.
I don't trust nobody that doesn't put salsa on their tacos.
I know. He got tacos de lengua, so kudos for him. He went for something that, a cut that not everyone would get. And hey, at least he met me at this taco truck. That was my first test. And I'm sure someone told him, dude, even if you don't like tacos, you got to go to this because the last thing you want is for Gustavo Arellano to say he refused my offer of a taco truck instead of going to Gulfstream or some, what's another weak salsa restaurant, Arc or some shit like that.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, listen, Gustavo, I want to, there's a lot to talk about, so I definitely want to jump right into it. You better than anybody knows, like, what's at stake here in Orange County, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the national elections, right? I mean, obviously the big story right now is like Trump versus Biden, right? And I know that you covered the Bernie campaign locally here with us, on election day, and we were so full of hope and dreams and and a vision for a brighter future. And of course, coronavirus took that and just like. Nope.
The death blow.
Yeah, it just gave us the people's
Generation X.
It was horrible, man. But yeah. So then here we are. Settle for Biden. And a lot of but also because of that, and perhaps Latinos have been slow to rally around him in the ways that they were rallying around Hillary Clinton. So, but still, it seems like Biden's gonna win. A lot of people are saying that it's almost a very likely chance. I think one website has him as 10% chance that Trump wins compared to 30% 4 years ago. So, what are your thoughts on this? And also, why are Latinos rallying around Trump in greater numbers this time around?
Because that tendency has always been with us. Let's stop pretending that somehow Latinos are naturally progressive, naturally communitarian or communist or socialist or lo que sea, everything that the Zapatistas teach us. No, look, we are children of the conquest and we have a conquistador blood in us. And I know this sounds kind of stereotypical, but in a way it's true. Like we have this we have this obsession with strong men or the caudillo, the man on horseback. And Trump, of course, doesn't know how to ride a horse worth his damn. But los más pendejos among us, of course, we're going to side with him. Yeah, habla sin pelos en la lengua. That's a real G. Like I keep saying, and everyone laughs me off, but a prophet in his own land. If cholos who are felons were allowed to vote, Trump would get all of them. He would win the cholo vote in a landslide. I saw this in 2016 with Hillary, and I'm seeing this again with Trump. They do not care about Biden. They see Trump as the thug that he is. That's just how it goes. So it's not surprising. I mean, really, the surprise is why aren't more Latinos Republican? And we all know that because of the California GOP. I still, I came out on KCRW's Left, Right, and Center, and I predicted that Biden would win the popular vote by a pretty large margin and barely squeaked by in the Electoral College. Because they asked me for a prediction, I just didn't see how Trump could win. I still don't think Trump wins, but if he does win, I am not going to be surprised at all. Maybe it's because I read too much, way too much conservative media. Like Alex Jones just said, tomorrow Trump is going to win in a historic landslide. If that happens, we all got to shut up and just follow Alex Jones because he is our true God.
Yeah.
He's never been wrong either. So.
That's what I'm saying, though. If he gets this right, it's like it's funny because you ask people, what has Alex Jones ever gotten right? Well, he got right that male frogs turned female because of all the chemicals. I'm like, dude, the left has been saying that since Silent Spring. Come on, man.
Yeah. It's like, no, I mean, he's weird because I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but he was recently on the Joe Rogan show, and I was disappointed, and so were a lot of other people. But like, if you listen to the whole thing, Joe Rogan was like pressing him the whole time, and like, just shutting down his conspiracy theories, and it's just like he seems to me like that's just like his friend from high school that is like total like right wing Trump supporter. But like, there's all these like memories of them like getting drunk together.
Yep.
Just kind of like like I love you, man. Like I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, no, you hate me, man. You're not even letting me speak right now. Like it was a deranged conversation. But yeah, he totally got into the Bilderberg group and the Clintons and the Bidens and
Dude, we were talking about the Bilderberg group with a trilateral commission back in the 90s at Chapman University, Mecha. This is where the right wing has been so brilliant, is that they literally took all the stuff that the left was talking about and they made it into a true cult with political power while the left was busy shooting each other, crabs in a bucket or circular firing squad. Then, we'll see. I mean, and this is the reason why I think Biden is in a way better position than Hillary, is because a lot of people hated Hillary. I mean, you talked about Latino support for Hillary. Not really. Not really at all. And especially from the left, they despised Hillary. They absolutely and not just the left. I mean, so many people hated Hillary. No one really hates Joe Biden. You're just like, all right, I'll vote for him. I mean, the only people who hate him are like the QAnon lunatics, but they're far smaller than people make them out to be. I mean, they might be scared of what a Biden administration might mean to the United States as opposed to the alternative Trump, or I'm talking about Republicans. But in terms of hatred, no. So Hillary had to deal with that. Biden doesn't. So it makes it that much easier for him to be able to win.
Yeah, and if you're kind of talking about like machismo as a reason for some Latinx voters, that specific demographic you're talking about, does it help that Biden's a man even in American society? Like, I mean, perhaps we are still in a sexist mindset there.
Beyond a sexist mindset, but I mean, that's why even more so they would not vote for Hillary. With Biden, the people who want to vote for Trump will vote for Trump. The people who are easily wowed by a supposed tough man, they're going to go with him again. But and it's hilarious to me because the right characterized Democrats as being under the cult of Obama. Maybe in 2008, people were so obsessed with like, oh my God, a black man's going to win in the White House. But once he came in, like, people liked Obama, but they didn't worship him the way they do Trump. I mean, the Republican Party has a cult among everyone. Goldwater, who lost in the landslide but became like the scion of the Republican Party. Reagan, of course. Now Trump. They are always under death cults. The Democrats, not really. I mean, maybe the closest to someone that people worship was maybe FDR, but that was only because he was a wartime president during World War II. JFK, people say, but he got martyred. I mean, he got assassinated. I mean, and he assassinated and young, and so many people, that sticks on you. But what? We worship the Clintons. How many people from the left, while Clinton was in office, was trashing Clinton? The Democrats are very good at criticizing our own, sometimes to our detriment, of course, but we're nowhere near in the death cult that the Republicans are.
No. Yeah, no, that's fair. But that's also like, I guess good because, but also bad because then, you know, it's like ends justify the means for the Republicans. Like they said, like, we don't like this guy. He, you know, he's not my spiritual leader, but he will get us conservative judges. And lo and behold, the man got them 3. And, you know, the last one under very, like, you know, controversial circumstances, but it's going to be, you know, Trumpism for sure is not going anywhere, regardless of how this election, you know, ends. You know, unfortunately, that is here to stay. And really, it was a way of like getting all of the racists out of, you know, the closet, I guess, you know, and seeing like, oh, I guess America is not living in a post-racial society. Like, we thought, like, I don't know what people were thinking, like, oh, Obama like erased, you know, all of these things. Like, no, we're still pretty racist. And not only that, like, you know, like a lot of Latinos are joining into this because of a lot of things that you mentioned, this ultra, like, you know, machismo and like dictator-like type people. Like these are the type of leaders that like Latinos look up to. So it's
no. I mean, look, what's the word? The naiveness, that's not a word, like
naivete or something.
Naivete, of liberals or even the left never ceases to amuse me. And by amuse me, I mean never ceases to make me vomit in my own mouth out of disgust. How fucking dumb are you people to really think that, oh my God, Trump brought all these racists out of the closet? They were always there. They weren't even in the closet. You're not paying attention in Orange County. This is what I tell people. Do not live in your bubbles. Do not live in your progressive paradises, because then that leaves you ready to get destroyed by the other side, who's always going to be smarter than you in organizing. Yeah, you know why these people held their nose and voted for Trump? Because of what Jose said, so they could elect your 3 conservative judges. What the Republicans know how to do is close ranks and just follow the leader. The left, God bless our souls, but we want, we behead the leader and say, you're not woke enough, so boom, you're out of there. And then you're busy squabbling while everyone, runs past you and then goes into the White House.
Yeah.
Purity is the death of the left. Purity is the death of the left. And you've seen so many examples in Orange County over the years. We'll see what happens on election day tomorrow, but when you're puritanical, you're going to screw yourself over. I'm not saying you got to compromise, your ideals, but sometimes you just have to really see the lay of the land. As with politics, it has to be 3D chess and figure out, what can I do to get over there? I can't bulldoze because I still got to do chess. So what can I do?
Well, this makes me think of the whole question about voting for a third party for president right now, and that whole debate. And I did a lot of research, and I think there actually are some good arguments, right? But you're right, Gustavo. We do have a hard time we're very passionate to not. There are a lot of people that hate Joe Biden on the left. Right. And they're very passionate. Like, I don't want to vote for this guy. They're traitors. They're like, they don't represent me. I'm going to vote for Peace and Freedom or the Green Party or something. But I get the outrage. Right. But yeah, the practicality of just choosing what appears to be the least harmful option. I think we have a hard time with that. Republicans don't seem to. When they realize they lost to Trump, when he was running in 2016, they're like, okay, we're on board, baby, let's go. Everyone turned around. Like, there were no principles. Yeah. They're like, okay, the king with the best violence won, so let him go.
No. I don't know if people hate Biden. They definitely don't like him, for sure. But I'm saying the rancor of this hatred towards Hillary was nowhere near where it is for Biden. Here with Biden's like, oh God, this guy's been around forever. He's not left. Oh, he got Coppola because he's trying to get the rest of us. Like, nah, man. But it's like, fuck it. But with Hillary, no, people are like, fuck Hillary, Bill Clinton, NAFTA, who the hell's all this shit, the sins that Hillary committed.
Predators.
That's all Biden has on that. But hey, in Biden's defense, almost everyone was saying super predators back in those days, which just shows. And he actually apologizes for that stuff. They asked it, they try to get him, and he apologizes for it. People don't pay attention though. They just get so. This goes back to the purity. People get so fixated on one thing that they ignore everything else, even if everything else cancels out this one thing. But it's like, nope, you sinned once, hence vete a la fregada, you know, hence bring on Trump in that case.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like, let's burn the house down. It's like, what? But we live here. It's like, how about like just put out the fire in the crack house that is America, and then, you know, we can figure out like how to like make it stop being a crack house, you know, get rid of all the crack kids. But we live here, put out the fire in the kitchen, and like, you know, let's continue to live to fight another day. So, you know, and some people, and that most people are going to make the right choice on that. But, you know, in the future, definitely the progressive movement is going to have some existential questions to ask itself. You know, what is it gonna look like, and how can it wage war in a way that actually wins and doesn't, like you said, you know, adhere to this purity test that seems very few, if any, people will ever live up to. But I want to transition into this, maybe the Congress. So Senate and House. What are your you know, your wise words to that? You know, Gustradamus.
Someone has said that already before. In terms of nationally, whether the Democrats are going to take both of them, or locally.
Yeah, both. Right. Like, will the Republicans lose the Senate? Will the you know, and the Democrats win it? And will the Democrats maintain the House? And what are the races as far as locally looking like for Orange County?
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats are not going to lose a House, not in a million years. They might take the Senate, but I'm kind of contradicting everything that I said on left, right, and center. But I think the Republicans know that Trump's going to lose big time, at least the popular vote. I don't know about the Electoral College, but so I think they're going to be coming out in earnest to try to save the Senate, because the last thing you need, even if Trump comes back, if you have the two chambers of the House against him, nothing's going to happen. And then if you have Biden in the House, you know, the White House, and then you control both chambers, oh shoot, the Democrats are now going to have carte blanche on being able to pass almost anything and everything. I mean, you don't need a supermajority the way you do in California, you know, what the Democrats created. Locally, of course, we have no Senate race this year. The parlor game right now is who's going to, if Biden wins and Kamala becomes vice president, who's going to replace her as a senator? That's interesting to hear all these people talk about shit. And then the congressional races in Orange County, the only two real competitive ones are going to be, the 39th up in Gil Cisneros, Brea, Yorba Linda, and parts of San Bernardino and LA County. He's facing off against Young Kim. I mean, that's a really interesting district. Gil barely won it. He hasn't really offended anyone, so I think he'll take it again. And then you have, of course, the 45th in Huntington Beach, where Harley Ruda, who beat idiot Dana Rohrabacher in 2018, he's facing off against Michelle Steele. I thought Michelle was going to win this before coronavirus. You know, I think if she wins, it's going to be because of voters of the 45th are a bunch of morons and would prefer a pro-coronavirus candidate over someone who actually was against it, which is insane. But that's how Michelle has been as an Orange County supervisor. I mean, infamously. I mean, and this is what Harley should run on instead of all these other stupid commercials that come out on Netflix or the History Channel on the streaming service. Like, I'm trying to watch Forge and Fire at peace, and I'm seeing a million commercials by Harley Ruda and Michelle Steele. I hate them both. So what Harley should have done is this. All you have to do is point out there was a letter that Michelle Steele sent out in late April, right before, I think it was Memorial Day. It might have been late May, but before Memorial Day weekend. She wanted to open up all the beaches, and so she said, we have flattened the curve with coronavirus in Orange County, and hospitalization rates have gone down. Fuck no, they did not. That's all people should tell about her. And of course, she does not take questions from the audience. She does not take questions from reporters. But that's all Harley should have just been throwing at her. That's going to be a tight one. That really does depend on the stupidity of Huntington Beach voters. Never underestimate their stupidity. For crying out loud, they might elect Tito Ortiz to the Huntington Beach City Council, which that would be like peak Huntington Beach right there, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did elect Arnold Schwarzenegger here in California. Yeah, so I think.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger, though, was not, running just to protect the police department the way Tito is, and is not calling coronavirus basically a flu or a pandemic. Arnold was Arnold but he is nowhere near Tito Ortiz. Like that's like not to defend Arnold,
Another
but
level.
I just saw Terminator 2 before this. Okay, so I'm remembering when Arnold was pretty cool people. So how dare you compare Arnold to Tito?
Oh my god!
I'm just saying, as far as the celebrities is concerned, Arnold is, he's actually the most reasonable person these days. Afterwards, like he's Republican, but he's anti-Trump, but he's not a QAnon supporter or Trump supporter. So yeah. We'll see, but you're right. And I mean, Harley, he's been like, what is it? Country over politics. Like, yeah, I'm a Democrat, but don't hold that against me, Republicans. Like, I don't know.
And appeal to them. Isn't that the Democrat strategy though? They're going for the middle. They're going for the center, not the left still, even after losing on the same strategy last time.
But maybe this time is the one that wins just because there are a lot of people who don't like Trump, even Republicans who don't like Trump. Is that a winning strategy for the future? Not necessarily. I mean, people should really pay attention to what, how Bernie won California. And, if Biden does lose, it'll be a huge upset. But one of the big things is going to be you didn't energize the Latino vote enough. They should have paid attention to Bernie Sanders. Hell, I wrote the story. I interviewed Jose about it. Like, read what I write in the LA Times, people. I know what I write about.
Nostradamus. But I wanted to point out another interesting race here, State Senator 29th District, Josh Newman versus Ling Ling Chang. What chance does Josh Newman have coming off of a failed recall? That's an interesting. I mean, a successful recall.
Successful recall. That one's going to be hard because if people recall you, that's because they didn't like you or they bought all the propaganda thrown against you. And all people had against Josh Newman was that he wasn't the deciding vote. He was a vote when it came to the gas tax, or God even know, like people don't even remember anymore. So Ling Ling, I mean, the thing with Ling Ling is like, no one really knows what she does or who she is. She hasn't been very prominent out there. And there's no critique of her. It's just like, she's not exactly the most popular person on the block, but Josh does have his past, Josh does have that past recall to answer to, and no one who has ever been recalled. I think the last person in Orange County to have been recalled from the state Senate was Doris Allen, and that's one for the real G's with the whole fiasco of Doris Allen. And if you don't know it, then what the hell is wrong with you, so-called politicians? Know your Orange County political history.
Well, go ahead.
You'll be teaching a class on that in community college.
I used to. No. I mean, academia is such a fucking stupid ass place.
I will get you right off the staff saying that, Gustavo.
Well, hey, I'm an adjunct professor, so I'm a lecturer, so I'm not an adjunct professor. I just teach narrative nonfiction at OCC. I'm happy teaching just journalism, but one time I taught history of Mexican Americans in Orange County at Cal State Fullerton. And it was only one time because then after that, a certain department, I'm not going to say which department, they lodged a complaint to the Chicano Studies Department saying, hey, you don't get to teach about Orange County. That's what we get to teach about. And Alejandro Jose Gradia, who was the chair of the department at the time, said, well, are you folks going to teach a class about history of Mexican Americans in Orange County? No. Then why can't we teach it? Because it's our domain. Academia is a bunch of bullshit. Like turf wars, for the worst damn things. But I would love to teach a class about the history of Orange County, period. Oh, do I have stories to tell?
Yeah. We should just create
do
a master class.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna charge you all $100 or $50 per class. Fuck that shit. Someone once asked me like, oh, will you ever teach a master class on journalism? Like I would pay for it. And I said, look, I appreciate you asking that or whatever, but I'd rather offer it to the community at large at a community college where they could then use what I taught them to move on to to get credits on it. Just hanging out with me? I guess for me, I want my money going to the state instead of just to me. And for community colleges, that money goes to help out. I would hope so. Goes to help out other students and again helps them just to learn from me. I mean, I'd rather at that point give it away for free. I mean, that's the old all weekly me, I'm not everything is about making money in this world. At least that's the way I think of it.
But yeah, so you're not going to need that commission then, like we talked about earlier.
No, sorry, man.
Okay,
I'll take you. I'll give you a michelada. That's about it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's a friendly way to resolve.
So what do you think about? I mean, Katie Porter is like, you know, she's a trailblazer, and in so many ways, she was on Bill Maher, and you know, she seems to be a progressive hero locally. A lot of people are considering or saying that she could be tapped to be the next senator.
No fucking way.
You don't
in a
think
million
so?
years. And Katie Porter fans, me están enfadando, man. You talk about cults. There's a new cult, Katie Porter. And nothing against her. I think she's smart as hell. I think the way she antagonizes idiots is great. She's super like quick, like on Bill Maher, whatever. She's good. So good for her. But she's not going to be appointed senator. Newsom would be insane to, first of all, get just a one-term, or at least if Biden wins, a two-term congressperson. That's only 4 years of political office, and make her senator when you have God knows how many far more qualified people to do that. It's not going to happen. Secondly, there's no way on earth Newsom is going to allow California's senatorial delegation to be two white people. No, you don't do this in this day and age in California. You get a POC, and Katie's not POC. So it's not going to happen, not in a million years.
All right. Well, I guess Antonio Villaraigosa it is.
It's going to, I mean, I have some insight into it. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but let's just say Newsom is someone who holds grudges and is also loyal. And he does not like a lot of the progressive LA Latino leadership, or the people who have come out of LA. So basically that eliminates Kevin De Leon, that eliminates Villaraigosa. That doesn't necessarily eliminate someone like Alex Padilla, who's very boring, but he has not offended Newsom yet, and he's up in Sacramento along with him. A lot of people say Javier Becerra. Javier Becerra's great, but he's just too good at his job as Attorney General for California for Newsom to risk losing him. I mean, Becerra's been great at what he's doing. I've always liked him, actually, even as a congressperson. So I don't know what would be for Becerra after that, but maybe he would run for senator, but he's not going to be appointed senator.
All right. So let's transition over into Orange County elections. Woo, so many, so much to talk about, so little time. So where do we start?
Oh, you can talk all night, man. I'm here as long as you folks need me to.
Well, I can. Yeah.
You have your time limits. If any of you have anywhere to go after this.
Yeah, no, it's all up to Edgar, our engineer. So.
No, it's all good. So go on.
Don't throw the engineer under the bus like that.
I'll bribe him. It's all right. I got him. All right. So let's just go ahead and get right to it. So Orange County, Santana. 26 years of Don Papi Pulido, formerly mayor for life, as you so eloquently dubbed him all those years ago. We are going to turn a page. And so now, like, all these people are vying for it. Who, in your opinion, is going to come out on top there?
Oh, man. This one I can't really pin my mind to. I don't think it's going to be Solorio. He is just, Jose Solorio, current council member. He is just being outgunned on his left by Vincent Sarmiento and on his right by Claudia Alvarez. And if you just go by flyers, it's Claudia's all around because she has all that developer money, I'm sure. And Vince, I see more, but Solorio, I've seen nothing. I mean, Solorio has, the police, of course, and never count them out. And I got to say, when it comes to mailers, I've gotten a lot of them from Solorio, but I just don't see Solorio beating either of them. The interesting thing is all these Democrats just cancel each other out, and then Ceci sneaks into the finish line. I actually think Ceci has more of a chance than Solorio does. Of course, famous last words, right? So I just think it's a two-person race between Claudia Alvarez and Vincent Sarmiento. And with Claudia, I mean, what can I say about Claudia, except I was a volunteer for her in her 2000 campaign. Oh, I've talked about this before. That's actually because I owe Claudia a thanks, because without being on her campaign, I would have never discovered OC Weekly. But then, she has not wanted to talk to me in a long ass time because I reported the truth about her, that she was a puppet of Mike Hara back when she was a city council member. So seeing Claudia run again, it's like, oh man, and especially with these Santaneros, it's like, this is a fucking carousel. Like, they always come back because they have nothing better to do. Look at what happened with David Benavides trying to run for school board until Caroline Torres kicked his ass, bumped him to the curb. And then now with Claudia, she's running for, she's a school trustee, Rancho Santiago Community College District trustee, and now running for mayor. It's like, you gotta move on with your life. And, in her case, she's a prosecutor. She should have gone away with Tony Rakakis, who was her longtime padrino,
Yeah, and he also endorsed her. I mean, who wants Caucus's endorsed her?
Who the hell wants? I mean, what does it say about Claudia that she is seeking the endorsement of Tony Rakakis? No one likes Tony Rakakis.
That's funny.
My favorite memory of Tony Rakakis, pobrecito. I know that's saying something, but on the 2018 Dia de los Muertos, maybe you remember this, Jose, he wasn't just some empty, something. Like, it was a conference room right there in La Cuatro, and behind all these altars, he must have thought like, oh, people are going to want to talk to me. Nobody talked to him. Nobody came up to him. It was the most pathetic display of a politician I've ever seen in my life. I really didn't think Orange County would have voted Rakakis out of office. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's desperate. Like, look, Todd Spitzer's his own can of pinche locura, but way better than Tony Rakakis. Way better.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's gonna be, it'll be really interesting for sure. I mean, they're definitely, like you said, Ceci has her cult of, in God we trust, Ceci Iglesias, peoples, and so,
she's she ever since she started running for school board, she won 3 straight elections, the 2 school board ones, and then she won for city council. Of course, she got recalled.
Yeah,
but do not discount her. Discount her, even though I think, again, the only, even bad people could do smart things, and her standing up against the police officers union, brave for her, good for her.
Yeah. But
let's say if she won, the police officers union would try to recall her immediately. I mean, they're the true holders of power here. It'd be amazing to see if, the coalition of Vince and, Jesse Lopez, and then the Vietnamese American candidate whose name I don't recall, who's running if that slate won, that would be pretty historic. I don't see it happening, sadly. I'm not going to say who I think is going to win or not, or I'm definitely not going to offer any endorsements, but do not discount the power of the police officers union. It's pretty scary.
Oh yeah. And I'd say maybe that's the gamble that Ceci's taking. I mean, you just lost a recall soundly. You think you're going to run for mayor? And it's almost the same with Solorio. Isn't he running a great risk? He's giving up his council seat pretty much, right? To run.
Yeah, so. But Solorio knows no one likes him, though. I mean, the only people who like him are the cops. I mean, I like Solorio. I'm always friendly with him, right? Would I vote for him? Well, I don't disclose who I vote for, but let's just say. Yeah.
Let's just say
there's, you could parse my words as to what candidates I like more than other candidates. And even though I haven't badmouthed Solorio, I also have not talked about him as much as some of the other candidates who I have not trashed.
Right.
How's that for being oblique?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Love it.
Well, don't you think, it might be a bit cavalier to just write off Mark Lopez, Gustavo? I mean, come on, man.
That guy on his, every Zoom, they had to, struggle to get him on. And he, one time he was, eating chips and, pretty sure drinking some beer and stuff during the debate. I'm like, can we get him out of here? He is not relevant. The adults are talking. This guy. Yeah. It was really fun.
Or George Collins, too. God bless him.
God bless his soul. I do remember several debates ago, the moderator kept referring to George Collins as Phil Collins. I don't know if that helped or hurt him. Yeah. But yeah, sorry about that Mark Lopez stuff. I apologize about that Mark Lopez stuff. Just because, I thought we were talking about, a hot dog eating contest, winning that.
Oh, damn.
We'll win that.
Okay. So, sorry, there's a personal grudge there. No
That's
apologies to Mark.
So then, So, there's 1, 3, and 5, right? So Ty, Cynthia, Tony Adame, maybe some other people, and then the other races. So are you thinking that the progressive candidates are gonna take the majority, because that's what's at stake here, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think they will. I mean, but who's going to win? I'm not sure. Jesse, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of enthusiasm from people like Jose and other folks, campaigning for the progressive candidates, like especially with Jesse Lopez. Oh, J-Lo. I don't really know what she stands for, except that the people whose opinions I respect are behind her. So I'm like, okay, good for her. I can see that. But she's running up against like Mark McLaughlin, who has been a longtime presence in Santana. I think he's a community college district trustee as well, but his name has been out there for a while, and he's going to get, and especially she's running up in the Floral Park districts. All those gabachos and middle class people know exactly who Mark is. So she's running
at a POA too.
Oh God. Well, there you go. I mean, and remember, and this is what I have. This is a problem I have sometimes with district elections, which we've talked about many times before, is that now you're limiting you. So all the people who I know are campaigning heavily for Jessie do not live in her district. So she has to get those people to vote for her, and that's going to be an uphill struggle. I think McLaughlin is the favorite in that particular district. And then three, with Tony Adame and the other people. Tony, I mean, look, I like Suavecito. I use Suavecito. I know there's this whole scandal right now with this, ¿cómo se dice? A PAC that his brother gave money to. But if you see that PAC, it's really contradictory, because you're saying like, oh, it supports Andrew Doe, who is like totally evil. But this PAC is also against Janet Nguyen, who's even more evil than Andrew Doe. Like, so does it cancel out? And if you know anything about Adame's giving, he's actually given money to Sergio Contreras' campaign, like straight up. So you got to dig more than just what you see on Facebook, So, but that said, that does hurt him. So are people going to be voting for him, or do people even know who he is? If you want to get down into the game, Adame does not really sound like the most Latino name, so that might hurt him against Raza. Who's just going to be like, Lopez or Arellano, that's immediate vote for him. That's also the district where you're going to have far more Asian candidates, and this is where it helps her. The candidate there is that not only does she have the advantage of having an Asian last name in a district that's going to have more Asian votes, but then she has all those activists, progressives pushing for her. So that might actually, I think, put her over the top specifically. And then the district of Villegas, Villegas is going to win. There's no way. I mean, who's even the progressive person there? Who's running against him?
I mean, Jonathan Hernandez and Laura Perez.
Jonathan. Good luck, Jonathan. We all know what people think about him. No love lost there with him. So no, Villegas is going to win because, again, he's an incumbent. All you could really say bad about him is that he's a police officer, or he's a sheriff's deputy in his case, which goes a long way. But a lot of people still want that and like that, especially in Santana. So I say he takes it. And
he could. I mean, he also showed some integrity when voting against the races, against what you would assume he would do.
They tried to recall him at first as well, but then they realized it's not going to work. So let's just go all in on Ceci, where it is going to work. And right. I think that's a testament. And I'm no fan of Villegas. I think he's a meathead personally myself. And he's also a sheriff's deputy. And we all know how smart sheriff's deputies are. They're just one step above border patrol. But that said, there's nothing too offensive about him. He has not done too horrible of a job. So I don't think that he is going to lose.
Yeah, well, yeah, there it is, Santana politics. So let's, so we don't get stuck the whole time on Santana. So Anaheim, Anaheim, yeah, the city from which we hail, you and I. Well, at least where we were raised. But then before we became adopted sons of Santana, Santaneros. So what, man, lot of money, a lot more money. Being thrown at the elections over there. We have Denise Barnes running for re-elections against Jose Diaz and this guy Ryan Bayless. We have Steve Fassel going against.
Fassel is the incumbent.
Yeah. Faso going against Kenneth Batiste, and then we have an opening, right, with Lucille Cring being termed out with Anne Marie, Randall Trejo, and Jean Robbins and Avellino, running for Valencia. So, what do you think? What's going on there?
Denise will probably win. She's an incumbent, although now she's running as a Democrat instead of a Republican. The other people are just no-name candidates. Look, if she loses, it's going to be because of Latinos. And if memory serves me correct, the only Latino that's actually running with a Hispanic name, he's a Republican, a Cubano, if memory serves me correct. So that'll just show the stupidity of the Latino vote sometimes. They're like, oh, you're just going to vote by your last name. But I think Denise might win. Fasol's going to win easily. Kenneth Batiste, no one knows who he is in Anaheim except, the real activists, but they're a minority in the city. People forget that Anaheim is far more conservative, despite, district elections and all that, than Santana is. And Santana itself is also not that progressive as you would think. And this is what I tell people about you can't be in your bubble. So this leads me to the open seat for Lucille Cring, and what is she running for? School board or some stupid ass shit? Just get the hell out of life, Lucille. You're terrible to begin with. And please use a photo of you that's more than 5 years old instead of the one that you've been using for 15 years. It's looking like a fucking picture of Dorian Gray at this point. It's true. Same thing with Pulido. Pulido's been using that same picture of him as a choir boy for what, more than 15 years, like 90s. Like, dude, he hasn't really aged that much.
I don't know, man. When you're undead, it doesn't do much at a certain point.
But anyways, so with Randall Trejo, okay, so she's running. She's a school board member. Again, that name might throw off Raza. Then you see, Jeanette Robbins. Again, no one knows who she is, and she's running with a white name or, Anglo name. So then you have Avellino, and I know the left despises Avellino. He should not be accepting Disney money and Santa Ana POA money. I know that. But all of my cousins, all of my friends in Anaheim, they're not the Wocosos. They're just the people who are at school, who teach and all that. They're all backing Avellino 100%. And I know people are trying to make Avellino to be a carpetbagger. Dude, he grew up in Anaheim like us. Like, you cannot call somebody who grew up in Anaheim, went through the whole gauntlet. You can't call them a carpetbagger. For crying out loud, he graduated from Catella High School. You can't get more Anaheim than that unless you actually graduated from Savannah High School or Anaheim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebels, baby.
Confederate rebels, baby.
Hell yeah, the colonists, the real colonists, by the way. German socialist winemakers, the best type of colonists you could possibly have, who gave good money to the Mexicans to buy that. Never mind that the Mexicans stole it from the Tongva people. But anyways, so when it comes to Avellino, he has the advantage just because he has all that money, like he has a full straight-on Latino last name. He's actually from the community, and he has a whole bunch of teachers and all these educators going, which is ironic because Anne Marie, of course, is a school trustee and has only so much about it. So that's going to be the more competitive race. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, but hey, it's district elections. Avellino is a Democrat and a Latino. Wasn't that what we wanted when it was district elections? No, you just wanted a bunch of leftists, and that ain't happening.
Damn. Yeah, no. I mean, it's, district elections has been there for like, two cycles, right? In Anaheim, Santana is the first time that they're having it. So, historically speaking, like Anaheim went more left the first time around, and so Santana should, but we'll see. But then, of course, as we saw in Anaheim, the council, the Chamber of Commerce and Disney and the lobbies, they took power right back, and now it just like I mean, you've seen how they've spent like close to $500,000 on the Denise Barnes race, like like in attack ads against her, like 2-3 a day, like it's like just complete overkill. Like, like you already have the council majority and more than likely you're going to retain it, but you're just like, now you're just being stupid with money. Like now it's just like personal vendetta. And I think that maybe voters will be like, they're just persuaded by it. Like, why do they hate Denise Barnes so much? She's a sweet older lady,
Yeah, well, all you annual pass holders, the reason Disney's not giving you a refund is because they need that money to trash Denise Barnes. and to give it to Arellano. No, look, this was I would challenge you on how how Anaheim went more left. The only way it went more left was Jose Moreno, and God bless him. But then after that, it just went all to shit. I mean, Moreno got lucky that he had basically the second most left person on the council, a Republican, Tom Tate. But then he got termed out, and now it's just a bunch of Jordan Brandman. I know you don't think he's left, nor is he, but that's literally what's happening. And the problem with district elections when you're in an oligarchy, if that's a word, like Anaheim, is that it's so easily gamed by all this money, more so now than ever before. They just easily game it. This is not LA where it's not LA where you have these radical notions. I don't know. You have district elections, especially if Denise loses and Jose is the last person left on the council. Was it all worth it for this? So he could be just a lone voice in the wilderness? I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, totally. It's going to be, it's like we fight for systems. We fight for all these things as progressives on the left, for us to have a better chance of winning. And then the powers that be figure out the game and then still beat us at it. It really is demoralizing. So one can hope that the left figures it out and really gets money and the people power behind candidates that is going to be able to take on the powers that be, because Moreno was outspent probably 10-1, but he still kicked Mitch Caldwell's ass by 6.
Yeah, because Mitch Caldwell was a complete moron, and how fucking arrogant of Disney to think that a Camacho was going to be able to win against Jose Moreno in that district. No, don't discount them, but they'll run. They'll find some Latino who graduated from from Western High School or some other city-born folks, but even worse high school than Catella, and run against them. Mark my prediction.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that was fun. Anaheim, as we know, a shit show, but we'll see if Jose Moreno is the last man standing over there. I think he's just gonna just be screw it, he's just gonna go crazy on them, or he gets some help with some of these progressive candidates. But I want to switch over to Huntington Beach. So as we mentioned earlier, yeah. So we got some good peoples over there. We got Oscar Rodriguez, who was on the show, and some other folks that is part of his slate. But then of course, we mentioned earlier, we got Tito Ortiz, Mr. MAGA, former UFC champion, running in, a very bro-ish town, but of course, unique and powerful Latino population there with Oakview and other parts of that. So what are your thoughts on that?
If Tito Ortiz wins, that's peak Huntington Beach. He is he's the perfect candidate for old Huntington Beach, a blockhead, bro, an MMA fighter who used to be married to a porn star. You merge all these Huntington Beach things. The only thing that Tito is not is a neo-Nazi, but he's a big old Trumper, so that's close, good enough, right, for Huntington Beach. Oh man, it'd be so peak HB. And you have all these people wanting to support Tito, or supporting Tito or whatnot. Whether he wins, Gina Clayton-Tarvin will, of course, who I saw left in the comments on Facebook, she'd know a little bit more. But it's so sad that Tito has a better chance of winning than Oscar Rodriguez. And look, they're both homegrown people, although Tito was born in Santana. He always conveniently leaves that out of the equation. But Oscar,
they can have him.
Yeah. Oscar is from the area, from Oakview, fucking got his master's degree from Long Beach State, did everything possible for crying out loud, fought against a garbage dump, polluting his neighborhood, and yet they're trying to make him out to be some socialist Antifa lover. That's so disgusting, and that's so Huntington Beach. Oscar is a former student of mine, by the way, at Orange Coast College. So he's a great guy. He's a smart guy. I'm proud of him. I don't think he's going to win, though, not even close. And there's also too many people running to begin with in Huntington Beach. So
15.
Yeah, 15.
So you vote for 3, top 3 wins.
Exactly. I mean, like he doesn't stand a chance, sadly. And the fact that Tito Ortiz tells you all you need to know about Huntington. But good for Oscar for running. Someone had to do it for the first time from Oakview. Keep triggering all those dumb bros out there and really make Huntington Beach truly great for the first time ever.
There we go. Yeah, way to avoid that. Make HB great again, as Tito is, so desperately wanting to do. God help us. So Orange, I believe Orange is district elections for the first time as well. There's different candidates, running. I think Eugene Fields, Danette, Abbott, Wicker, and other folks. Like, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, Eugene used to be a reporter for the Register back in the days. He's an interesting cat, and I'll just leave it at that. Nothing negative about him, but just to see his trajectory has been very interesting. From a reporter, then he was like a PR person. Then one day I see he's running for office. I'm like, wow. I mean, he was cool. That's the most I could say about him. Is Betty Valencia a council member now?
No, sadly not yet.
And she's not running, right? Is her district not up?
Correct.
That's for that. Yeah, no, Betty's totally cool people. I'll tell you who not to vote for in Orange. John Dum Dum Dumitru. He's a complete moron. Este puro pendejo. Try to Google my stuff from him. Dumitru, Dumitru. Pendejo to the max. So he's a former council member and he's running for office again. Again, these politicians, they don't have nothing better to do in life, so they just keep running after a couple of years. So that is a non-endorsement from me. Do not vote for John Dumitru. Es pendejo to the max. The rest of the people, yeah, pendejex, exactly. No, he's pendejo. He deserves to be associated with toxic masculinity, 100%, because he's just dumb. Again, the only of those. I mean, anything, frankly, that's in Orange, you got to stand up against the Chapman University machine, my alma mater, and the people who want to develop stuff closer up to Orange Park Acres and whatnot. And also, and people who take on the Old Town Orange, who really tries to make themselves out to be a Paul Mayberry, but meanwhile, they always conveniently forget they have a huge barrio right up LaSalle, all those apartments going up there. They're always completely forgotten. And of course, in Cypress Street, the original barrio there has been slowly being gentrified by Chapman. So I would urge anyone in Orange to vote for the candidates who are willing to stand up for Los Mexicanos in Orange.
There we go.
And again, Eugene seems cool. So if he's doing that, then good for him. That's awesome.
All right. So, yeah, I think we're about to enter a lightning round.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. Yeah.
Lightning round.
Well, wait, before we get there, I have a little side question. If you look down the roster here, you'll see people like Sal Tinajero, Loretta Sanchez, Lucille Kring, always pivoting toward the school district. So
yeah.
What's your first reaction when you see this?
Oh God! Again, these people have nothing better to do. Their glory days have left them, yet they still desperately want to be in politics. Bruh, if you had a future, you would have gone up to state assembly or state senate already. Like Loretta, you were great. I mean, your legacy in Orange County is secure. You're the first person to have started the blue wave of Democrats. You beat Bob Dornan in '96. Why the hell are you running for Orange County supervisor? Why the hell are you running for anything else? Your time's done. Ya vete to Rancho Palos Verdes or wherever you own your actual home, Sal, by all accounts, he's a really great debate teacher. Good for him. I don't have nothing bad to say about Sal, but, you finished your time. Why are you still running? Like with politicians, the problem with politicians is that they need to learn when their time's over and get the hell out of Dodge. Like AK Lucille Kring, she got lucky. She got elected as much as she did in Anaheim. Why is she running for school board? Get the hell away, job. Go touch up your photograph or something.
Right off into the sunset. Okay, so no Sal Tinajero. So then this is an endorsement for Mike Gonzalez, I hear.
Oh, I have no idea who Mike Gonzalez is. Look, I have no
the
problem.
owner of Mexican.
How dare you?
Oh, that
one
idiot?
that burnt down.
Yeah. No, okay, I know that.
I don't think you can call him that on. Okay.
Mike Gonzalez? Yeah, he's an idiot, 100%. He should not be. Yeah. So consider that my non-endorsement.
Okay.
Idiot is not libelous, by the way. To be an idiot is not a crime. It's not alleging a crime. I know my libel law, so I know what's up.
Taking a few crash courses.
No, and by the way, really off to really quickly, anyone who needs free media legal advice, I'm your guy. I'm basically a libel lawyer after all the stuff that I did at OC Weekly, which was a lot. But we never lost a libel case, so there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Learn
again
it legally with your friend Gustavo Arellano.
Master class.
Master class. No, I have nothing against Sal. Again, I actually went. I didn't speak at his class, but he invited me to go sit in his debate class, and it was great. Like what he does. So he's a good. I think as a person, he's a good guy. I just wish dude, you don't have to run for office. You should build up your proteges, or you should start spreading those seeds out there to get that next generation. Your time already passed. That's all I'm saying.
All right. May have the Senate in the spring passed.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the good old days, Senate spring. So Irvine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we have, I believe, Farrakhan running for mayor. We had Tammy Tran. They're, the Irvine company. The overlords of Irvine are going to town, just spending, of course, hundreds of thousands of dollars to trash the candidates that are not going to be, rubber stampers for them. So what do you think?
Anyone the Irvine company is against, you should be for the most part. The only exception, Irvine company's evil. Irvine, the city of Irvine is completely evil, except for all the Persian restaurants and Chinese restaurants there. And UCI, which is technically not Irvine, of course. But
the residents, period.
Yeah, the residents of Irvine. Irvine is the place that could take someone fresh off the boat and turn them into a raging white supremacist within a year. I've seen this happen time and time again. Yeah, I said that on Dave Chang's show. They cracked up as much as Jose, so it's true. It's true. It's true. I never really covered Irvine politics except to know be against the Irvine company and be against Larry Agron, who you want to talk about a politician who doesn't know when to say goodbye. That's the epitome of this one. Dude, Larry, you were good when the Orange County Register despised you. The Great Park made you into a sad shadow of who you were, and you're still running for office. Get a job finally. Get a job, damn it.
Give back to society for once.
Yeah.
But wait, didn't Farrakhan get canceled for not being tribalistic or something? What happened with that?
Oh, I don't even know. Again, it's Irvine. At the end, they're all upholding their stupid ass HOAs. Nothing good ever comes out of Irvine politically, except Katie Porter, who, by the way, is not originally from Irvine, so good for her.
And Zach de la Rocha from Rage Against the Machine.
Who got the hell out of Dodge as soon as he could.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Coming out of Irvine, actually, is Melissa Fox, right? So what do you think about her race?
She's fine, but too many people hate her, so she's never really going to advance, especially from, we're talking about the Dan Pendejos of the Democratic Party, who just do not like her because who the hell knows? You get, especially with Irvine politics. I mean, they're fighting. One time it was a joke, and I forgot what it was. Fighting they fight over curfews at parks, or there they fight over how can we make sure even more so to keep people from Santana away from our parks so they don't play the soccer fields there. That's literally what passes as problems in Irvine, because all the politicians ultimately they're going to side with the Irvine company because the Irvine company basically runs everything, and they have made it into the Stepford community that it is. So politics in Irvine, most of those people never really go anywhere. I mean, look at Katie Porter. She never ran for office before she ran, for Congress. But none of those people go further, at least from the Democratic side. On the Republican side, you had Steve Choi, of course, that fool. He ended, I think he's still a state assembly member or maybe state senate. But he ran from the Republican side because, Christine Shea, nothing's ever happened to her. Oh, Dan Wagner. Again, Don Wagner, otro pendejo. It's always the Irvine Republicans who move up in life. The Irvine Democrats go nowhere.
Damn. All right, going to the other part of the city, Fullerton. So there's a lot at stake. Like interestingly enough, like Fullerton could have a lot at a big part to play in the Poseidon fight, because based on what the council majority is there, it could be that the person that is appointed there, would vote for it, and then therefore they would have a majority for it to go forth with it. So what? So anyway, so like, what do you think about, like, there's a lot of people like now that are running, Latinos. I know Faisal Cassie is a doctor, is also running. So have you heard anything? Do you know anything about?
I'm trying to remember. The only person I really know, Bruce Whitaker, who's a longtime libertarian there. I know people are trying to get him out of office. I've always liked Bruce. He was against the one of the few council members at the time who was against Kelly Tom, or against the police officer, or rather the Fullerton Police Department. Him and Sharon Quirk Silva were really against all that bullshit, and neither of them were recalled, if you remember, a couple of years ago. So I've always liked Bruce. If there's a more progressive candidate, I'd have to pay attention to what they have to say. I know there's
the core.
Who? Oh, Rooney. Rooney's cool people. I like Rooney. Yeah, totally. He's totally cool people. So that would be interesting. I don't know if he wins, though, just because, again, Whitaker does have that incumbency. He's been there for a long time. But same thing with Bruce. Come on, move up in life, do something with yourself. But the problem with Fullerton, of course, is that the way the districts are divided up, it's all done so that the downtown, which is the true center of power, all those bar owners, they're the ones whose vote does not, or the vote gets diluted enough so no one can actually control it, which I think then you need to find a council who's willing to take away that gerrymandering and do a district that actually does represent, or do districts that does represent all of Fullerton, instead of try to dilute the power so that a few can continue to have the power that they have.
Right. Yeah. So I'm seeing that District 1 is Fred Jung versus Andrew Cho, and District 2 is Mackenzie Chang, and with Chuck Sargent, Nick Dunlap, and Faisal Cassie. So, yeah.
Where are the Latinos? They can't just be Jesus Silva, Like, you need more Latinos in Fullerton running. I mean, and I know some cool Latinos up in Fullerton. Who is he? A school board member? He's one of you young Latinx people, Trinidad or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he didn't run this time around. I believe he's supporting Fred Jung.
He should have run. There was somebody.
Yeah, it's like.
What's his name? Walter? No.
Is it Jose?
No, Jose Trinidad.
Jose Trinidad. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
He has a long name.
Yeah.
He's like 10 names.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So is there any other race that is exciting, relevant? You know what? Have you seen the Westminster Fat Booey? The Fat Booey video of him as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a Fat Prince of
oh man,
yeah,
Fat Booey,
hilarious.
The Fat Prince of Garden Grove.
Yeah, the Fat Prince of Garden Grove. He's a tool. I know he's trying to get rid of Kim Bernice Wen. So come on, like, no te hagas. And he's running for mayor. I know that's what he's doing on that end. But he's always struck me as a clown. Garden Grove politics, you want to be low key, corrupt and trash. Garden Grove has always been a cesspool, going back to the days of Bruce Broadwater. I mean, this is a place where fucking Jerry Serrano was going to run for city council, the president of Santa Ana Police Officers Union, until Gabriel San Roman did this very interesting article showing about an incident that Jerry Serrano had where he was put in jail for being drunk, and now he was never charged or convicted with it, but you got to read the police report. I really do believe that sunk his candidacy, and that's always going to but he could have won. You would have had a bunch of pendejos vote for, there's a Latino running for city council, let's go for that guy. So no, Garden Grove politics are just absolutely toxic. Nowhere near reported on as they should be.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah, so just to be clear, Trinidad is Filipino, and Fat Booey is in Garden Grove, not Westminster. But
yeah,
I like, forgive me. I like, Garden Grove, Westminster, like same thing.
Yeah, no, then it's not Trinidad that I was thinking about, but there's a Latino, and I know because unless he's some Latino from Fullerton Progressive said that he's from Jerez. And so Jerez, Zacatecas, where my family's from. So I thought it was Trinidad, but I guess it wasn't. It must have been somebody else, but that's my mistake.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. He might be like half. But anyways, so
Maybe.
yeah. So like other races here I'm seeing. Let's see. So yeah. So Westminster's. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's where you had, some guy trying to do a recall against a bunch of council members there. And then you had another council member who was Republican, hardcore Republican, calling out the other council members for being corrupt. And, those are dirty politics as well. I mean, this is where you had, what was it? The police chief retire, then sue, alleging all sorts of malfeasance. Westminster, all Little Saigon politics is bad. It's not because it's Vietnamese there, but it's just, no one's paying attention because they're both heavily immigrant communities and they just vote lockstep with whoever's on that. So Sergio, I know Sergio Contreras is running against Andrew Do. I don't think he's going to win that either. Andrew Do has the incumbency. He also has a Vietnamese political machine, which always, again, going back to Republicans, they vote in step. And I know there's now progressive young Vietnamese trying to change it. The LA Times, we just did a story about that yesterday, but I don't think it's going to win. I don't think it'll help Sergio at all this time around. Frankly, those young Vietnamese should be concentrating. And I know they're doing it for Homegirl and Santana, but they need to start getting more Vietnamese running for like Fountain Valley, Garden Grove, and Westminster, and just slowly moving up the ranks with Vietnamese candidates being progressive. We had Bao Nguyen. Bao Nguyen was great. Bao Nguyen is a friend of mine, although I haven't talked to him in a while. His big mistake was running against Lou Correa. What a horrible mistake. And I told him not to run, and yet he still did. And he got not just destroyed by Lou, but now is no longer, on Garden Grove, and he's just gone off, exiled, basically. Sad. And Bao was a real deal, man.
Yeah. No, I recall I mean, his rise to fame for progressives, and he was one of the first people that were really standing up to like the right wing machine that was like anything that is leftist is socialist, communist, and we're against it. And he got it, but he bit off more than he could chew. And like Little Saigon cities are not the same. Westminster is vastly different from Garden Grove, especially in politics and residence. Yes, indeed. But to me, who have never lived in Garden Grove, Westminster,
well, duh. When did you say otherwise? Come on. I'm not reading the comments. Otherwise, I would not I'd be fighting too much right now. And also, I couldn't access them all. But we never said that. But look, the Little Saigon political machine, it's a thing. It started with Van Tran, and this is why, what was it? Yeah, I talked earlier about that PAC that the Suavecito guys went to. Janet Nguyen is the worst of the worst when it comes to these people. Janet Nguyen is someone who broke off with her mentor, Van Tran, and then pissed off her protege, Andrew Do, and is basically like on her own. That's how despised she is. But and frankly, Little Saigon could have had even a stronger machine if they knew how to not get into so many fights among each other. And really, you see the main factor is Janet Nguyen. Janet Nguyen's the one who pissed off all these people and just broke all of that. But in the meanwhile, the Vietnamese, they do come out and vote far better than Latinos do. So we can't, and the only race that Latinos have ever beaten, and we're talking about the big races that the Latinos have ever beaten the Vietnamese is when Loretta, when Van Tran foolishly tried to run against Loretta Sanchez, and Loretta just, beat him up easily. But other than that, they always beat us for supervisor. Janet beat Solorio big time, whipped him. It happens again and again. Those, the Vietnamese folks, the machine, they know how to bust out their people. And kudos to them for that,
Yeah, get involved. That's what we need.
Exactly.
That's right. What else is out there in Orange County? Laguna Beach. Yeah.
Yeah. Where else?
Newport, Tustin,
Mission Viejo,
Cerritos, Cypress, Buena Park.
Many races. And the funny thing, I could probably say a little bit about all of them, at least put the politics. But in terms of the interesting ones, again, they're the only real competitive ones are going to be Harley and Michelle, Harley and Michelle for Congress, and then Young Kim and Gil Cisneros also for Congress as well. But all the other ones, I don't think anyone's going to win for city councils. I mean, the most interesting thing by far is going to be Santana, because you don't have Pulido anymore. What the hell's going to happen there?
Toss up.
And it really truly is a toss up. I would not put money on any of them to win. Although, again, if Ceci won, I would not be as surprised as most people make it out to be. And then also for the council. But, it's funny because Jose talked about the sunshine, Santa Ana sunshine. Oh, you want to talk about liberal delusions? That was a big
Dylan.
Well, the Santa Ana Spring?
Yeah, the Santa Ana Spring.
But it was a revolution in the streets, Gustavo. You were there at the time. No, they're totally latching onto that.
I was totally there at the time, and I was skeptical then, but people like, you cannot ever heavylize the crown. Don't believe in your own hype. You always have to fight forever and ever. Again, like district elections in Anaheim, what is that going to win us at the end? Nothing. Just literally won the whole point, which was to get Jose Moreno onto the city council. So in that case, it was successful. Everything else has been a farce, sadly. In Santa Ana with the Santa Ana Spring, we'll see what happens with this election. But if you have a council that's all going to be on charge of giving the police officers union unlimited raises while taxing everyone else in Santa Ana, then what Santa Ana Spring? It became as revolutionary as the Arab Spring, and we all know what happened there.
Well, I mean, I'll give them some credit. I mean, they did dislodge Walters from his position of power. I mean, it was a really destabilizing. It's been very destabilizing in our city for the last 8 years, right?
Yeah, that wasn't the Spring people. That was the police officers basically making their moves. Like, Pulido stupidly made him a commissioner, like a marshal. What the fuck is that position? But at that point, he was expendable. Frankly, that gave him a golden parachute to get the hell out of there. And then by dislodging Walters, though, again, be careful what you wish for, because it might come true. Walters, for all of his sins, at least kept his officers under check politically. You don't have that anymore. Rojas couldn't wrangle these people, and then Serrano came in, and we all know this is the problem with the left. The Republicans. What do I say? What?
The Rojas tried, but he was ultimately ran out by people, and he sued the city and he won. So
they settled.
Maybe they feared him. Maybe they feared Walters more. The white man versus the brown man, but. Regardless, I wouldn't blame Rojas. He tried.
No. I'm not blaming Rojas at all. No, what I'm saying is that Rojas got run out by Serrano and those people because he did pose a challenge to them. And it, frankly, I went back to that stupid pot raid that the Weekly got the video for, where these police officers were eating. Oh wait, they weren't eating edibles. They were eating chips.
No,
power bars. Fuck that shit.
Why were there power bars? Did they go in the break room? Did they go into the lunches of the employees? There could have only been 2 lunches in there. How many power bars are they keeping in their lunches? Okay, sorry.
But anyway, that is what's, and look, Rojas, to his credit, tried to discipline these people, and the police officers union was not going to take it. Under Walters, I doubt there'd be any discipline, but then the police officers, they would have just continued being what they were doing, which was a trigger-happy, baton-happy group of pendejos, And nope, now they are running politics in Santa Ana, and they're ready to take over the city once and for all.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of an interesting point, because it's like with Rojas, we challenged him, and we didn't think he was that progressive, and there wasn't a great relationship. And even with some of our council members who ended up coming out at the end on their last terms and being like, the POA's evil. Hold on, they've been bribing us for the last 8 years. Yeah, but I feel like by the time you realize, hey, Sal's speaking out against the POA, or hey, Rojas is in trouble. It's like we have no relationship with them. We can't support them, actually, and they wouldn't even seek support from us because we've been fighting them the whole time. So it's
puritanical. Look, I am not one of those people who say police officers inherently are evil. I know people who are police officers. The problem with police officers is that they don't want to cross a thin blue line. In that sense, that makes them evil. Yes, that they do not dare speak against one of their own. They're just as bad as the pedophile priest protectors at the Catholic Church. It's like, Do I know good priests? Of course I do. But these priests are cowards, just like good police officers are cowards for not speaking up against the injustices. And then they wonder why communities of colors don't trust these police officers one bit, or como se dice, agencies, law enforcement agencies, and why people want to defund the police. I know, again, having covered the police officers for so long, or being in charge of reporters who suffered, cover them for so long, and having talked to police officers privately in the past, I tell them, like, look, like, you're never going to get any love from the left until some of you people start. You got to be like Serpico, man, Al Pacino, speak out, or be like, what's his name, the whistleblower in Steve Nolan. Look him up in Anaheim. Here was a police officer who blew the whistle against corruption in the Anaheim Police Department, and he got ostracized by the police department for it, just literally run out of town. So he goes off and becomes a council member in Corona, not too far away. But, Nolan at the time was working with Los Amigos, with Amin David and Josie Montoya, may they both rest in peace, because they had that relationship with that. But does the left have a relationship with police officers anymore? No, you just want to run them out of town. And that, again, be careful what you wish for, because then when you might need them, when you got to triangulate to get rid of a bigger evil, they're going to say, "Screw you! What, you haven't stood with us in a long time." Then what power are you going to have politically?
Yeah. No, it's I think it's like you push as far left as possible, and then you find a sweet spot somewhere in between. Like, we have to find a place where it's like, maybe not abolish the police, but maybe not like militarize the police. Somewhere in the middle of that, like, we got to find like the place where they do what they're actually supposed to do. Because people, because cars get broken into and all sorts of things happen. And so people call the police and they want them to help them when there's crimes, but they also don't want to like get potentially killed or like when you call them and things of that nature. And I just think it's really different, the conversation between boots on the ground and the folks, the POA and Jerry Serrano, and how horrible and corrupt he's really showed himself to be. But I'd say, like, more often than not, whether it's national politics, the sheriffs or ICE, like, who do they endorse? Trump. And locally, like, who are they endorsing? The status quo, the worst, the most, special interests, in puppet candidates, more often than not, are endorsed by the police and fire department. And it's like, we trust you, man. Like, you're supposed to be looking out for us. No, they're looking out for their best interests.
That's why I shed no tears for what police departments are going through right now in terms of the outright hatred that a lot of communities of color are showing them. Look, again, if all it takes is one good officer to speak out against all the injustices that are going on, but they never do, because they have that thin blue line, and then they wonder why people hate them. Maybe if you didn't indiscriminately kill the men and women of color, or beat up homeless white men like you did Kelly Thomas, maybe there'd be a little bit more sympathy from the left. But you don't even do that. You do not even do that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, man, like, this has been incredible, Gustavo. Like, we literally could continue to, you and I have had, long, nights of conversations and rants over some delicious whiskey and tequila and awesomeness. So I can't wait for those days to come back. But, like, I don't know, like, what do you see, like, as far as what, like, come what may with the elections, right? Like, what do you see as far as, like, the left, progressive politics, Mexican Americans in this country, like, as a voting bloc? Like, what are your, prognostications for
it? Would be such bitter irony if Trump wins, because of getting Florida and Arizona and Texas, and the people taking him over the top there are conservative Latinos. I think that would galvanize a progressive movement in the Democrats more than anything before, because Bernie killed it with all these young Latinos, killed it all over. I mean, California, Orange County went for Bernie, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of these urbanites, it was because of Santaneros like Jose and all these other people, and Alicia Rojas and all these folks just running for Bernie. I mean, I was there, like, I interviewed you and I just saw that excitement. People that I know never really cared for the electoral process, but were burned, who felt the burn literally and was working that. And it was just so exciting to see that. And the Biden campaign thought that they would naturally come to them. Do not underestimate Latino voters. So I do not want Trump to win. I did not vote for him. Hell no, not in a million years. But sometimes the left needs I think the left only learns when it crashes and burns, and it gets a lesson. And I would have hoped, we have gotten more lessons. And I think we did do a lot in the past 4 years with Trump in terms of organizing and mobilizing. But we'll see if that was enough of a reckoning. Maybe, it's not just the left, but maybe the Democratic Party, which I thought would have learned it lesson, but it hasn't learned it as much as I would think so. That's why we have Biden. But we'll see what happens on election day. And then just, but all I can tell to people is like, if you can vote, vote. If you don't vote and you can vote, you're a fucking moron. You're a disgrace to all the African Americans who gave their life, who got killed for that right, for the franchise, for all those Latinos in the past who sued in order to be able to vote. You are making a mockery of people, of men and women far greater than you ever did. So if you don't vote and you can vote, fuck you. Simple as that.
PSA.
Yeah, PSA. I have voted in every election. You don't have, and look, this is not me saying you have to vote for Biden. If you're from the left and you can't vote for Biden, I'm not going to be one of those people, oh, you're throwing away your vote. I respect whoever you voted for, even if you vote for Trump. Look, I think you're foolish, but at least you voted. God bless you for that, and you vote, but go out and vote. And especially, oh my God, especially when it comes to these local elections, you have to go out for a vote. I frankly think the local elections matter more than the presidential elections. It's not Trump who passed sales tax increase who fund the Santa Ana Police Department. That was the council members that you voted for in office. It's not Trump who criminalize, who try to criminalize homelessness in Santa Ana, is doing the gentrification. And by the way, the people who gave all that money, the hundreds of millions of dollars in grants for that stupid ass trolley that's going to go through downtown, that was the Obama administration, but it was Pulido who ultimately passed it. So care about your local elections, because if you don't, then it's going to be the people who are invested in bettering themselves, which is to say the people who live under the public coffer, the Santa Ana Police Officers Union and everyone else. They're going to be the ones who are running away with the election. So care, vote. And if you don't vote, again, fuck you.
That's right. I wouldn't say it like that, but I definitely share the passion and sentiment. Like in Orange County, we've made it so damn easy. There is not very many good reasons left to not vote, except I will say that it is like giving somebody, here, take the SAT. It's like, but I didn't study for it. Okay, well, here's like the answers. I guess, like democracy, So, there's a lot that has to be done. And hopefully with the next generation, Santana and Anaheim, a lot of young people, that I've came across with the Bernie campaign, that gives me hope for the future, that the future is more progressive and much more critically thinking. I want to believe that. And I think it's the case. But still, the truth remains that, activism and marches, like that's easy, like comparatively to substantial, like transformative, change, like on a legislative level, on a long-term level. I want to give a shout out to cooperative campaigns, locally with Don Benjamin and Yenny Diaz and Tracy and Carlos and Maria and Andrew Hauserman and so many people like part of that group that have figured it out. Like we need to not just we need to get better at playing the game, because we get our asses kicked all the time. And so, again, marches are good, but if it doesn't channel itself in towards, substantial transformative change, then we are really losing a major opportunity. I would hate for it to happen that Biden wins and then we have a Occupy-esque movement in America, and all for it to fizzle out over identity politics and personality clashes, because we couldn't really get to it. But again, right? But at the same time, without that, we wouldn't have had the Bernie Sanders movement that swept through and galvanized us. But now I'm my heart is broken as a leftist. Our leader is not going to run again. So who's next? AOC, Gustavo Arellano, I don't know, like somebody.
I think I've pissed off every possible side in this conversation. Like on one hand, calling, saying not all police officers are evil. Then I say they're cowards, and like I'm all over the map.
Yeah,
marginalized voters. Marginalized. Oh no, fuck the people who do not vote. And then you can. I especially this year where you have a mail-in ballot where all you have to do was the minute you got it. I mean, go out, of course, and be educated, but just drop it in the box. There's nothing disenfranchised about that, folks. And you have just put it not anymore, of course. It's too late now, but you could just put it in your post office. You don't have to pay for the postage stamp. There is nothing disenfranchised about that. Other states is different, of course, but here in California, no excuse at all.
Yeah, but good.
But remember, just because they're Latino doesn't mean they aren't a vendido.
Exactly. So
by the way,
you want to be educated.
Yes.
By the way.
And another good, maybe an interesting story. I know we interviewed someone from the OC Register of Voters, but why'd they even do this? Why did they make voting so easy for us? It was like, some guy was just smart and he's like, oh, I don't know, it just seemed like the best way for people to vote. It's like, that wasn't a political thing that they were pressured into doing, right? They just did it.
I mean, no, the mail-in ballots was Gavin Newsom because of coronavirus. That's why, everyone, that specifically.
But before that, he was doing that.
Yeah. Well, and the voting center, I mean, give credit when credit's due. Neil Kelly has been great as a registrar of voter. The guy before him, and I've been trying to remember his name, but he was a fiasco. We would write about all the stupidities that voting was in Orange County before him. But Neil Kelly is smart. I mean, I loved going to vote in person at my local precinct, which is just within walking distance. And they started changing it. One time it was like I had to drive. Then another time it was even further. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. This sucks. But if that increases the voter turnout, then I'm all for. I mean, allowing people to vote early 3 days before and then the mail-in ballot. Again, there is no excuse. There is no excuse not for you to vote at all, unless you're one of those crazy-ass libertarians who refuses to vote on principle. Then maybe I could respect that just because, libertarians are interesting.
Well, God bless you, Neil Kelly.
Professionally pragmatic for a Republican. Oh, and people are saying Gustavo for Congress. Run, Gustavo, run. There it is. There.
If I ever announce my candidacy, number one, I wouldn't be able to be a reporter for the Los Angeles Times anymore, and I like doing that. Number two, I would be like Trotsky and get an ice pick to the head the moment I announce for anything.
Oh my God. It would be worth it just for the propaganda that would come out. Like you were saying earlier, it would be like Gustavo Arellano hates the police. And then the next one's Gustavo Arellano bootlicker. I'll just take whatever quote you said.
I would create this amazing coalition of haters. You'd have wocosos, white supremacists, police officers unions, who else? It'd just be like I unite the right and left, few other people and just despising me. And the great thing though is that they all read me. And here's the thing: I would not be a good politician because number one, although I'm totally for the unions, I'm a union member myself. I would not go and seek anyone's endorsement because I do not like. Again, I don't think you can be puritanical in things. And sometimes you're just going to have to do votes that you don't like, but if it gets you to another place. And I would piss off a lot of my so-called supporters. Number two, I would take money from anyone. You want to give money to my campaign? Fine, but I'm not going to spend it the way you think I'm going to spend it. So, hey, Disney, you want to cut me a check for $50 million? Cool, let's do it. I'm not going to use that money to do any Disney at all. And I would be upfront about that because politics, sadly, is a game where whoever has the most money win. And if you want to give me money, go for it. But I am not going to be voting. You're not going to get any favors from me. My favors are it would be for my constituents, plain and simple. And in my world, my constituents are everyone from in my own life, the people that I deal with is everyone from undocumented people to small business owners like my wife to just a little bit of everyone. You have to govern for everyone.
That's right. And then, you might get some ads like this.
Sergio Contreras once sent a friend of his assistant to his ex-boss's co-worker who was slightly impolite. Did you see that flyer?
No.
That's the best shit they got on Sergio Contreras. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see the whole thing. Maybe I shouldn't.
The smooth criminal, but
it was like he sent someone to work with someone else, and he was like awkward or
Sergio Contreras is a fucking choir boy who originally ran for Westminster School District, replacing a bunch of homophobic women who made national headlines when they refused a grant from the state of California because I think it was about transgendered bathrooms because they were totally homophobic. So, I mean, again, I am the three-eyed raven of Orange County. I know everything that has happened in the past. I know everything that'll happen in the future. Very, very, very few. In fact, I would say the only other person who would know as much about Orange County politics, and I'm talking about in its totality, as me, would be R. Scott Moxley, because the younger people that you might know them now, but you don't know about the veteranos and like all of that stuff. So that's Sergio Contreras. That's how he got onto school board. He won. And then, of course, he jumped up to city council. I mean, it'd be great if Sergio won because I really think he is like a great success story in Orange County politics. And he's won in Westminster as a Latino. We can learn a lot from him. I just don't see him winning on election day. I love to be proven wrong when it comes to my political predictions, but I mean, we should have more politicians running like Sergio Contreras.
Yeah, but the ball says what it says.
Okay. Cryptic.
The three-eyed raven became the king of Westeros. Sounds like a run happening. Yeah, man. So well, I wanna thank you so much for like coming on. I really. I wish it was in person. We could, definitely.
I'll see you tomorrow at Vince Sarmiento's thing, man. I'm definitely gonna swing by.
Hey, so if there's one thing that you can do, like the last question before we sign off, if there's one thing that you could that you can't wait to do, like after the pandemic's over, what is that thing? You used to do all the time that you can't.
Yeah, I mean, just travel for stories. Get on an airplane and jump off. I mean, it's interesting. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but usually my calendar is just packed with events, packed with events, and everything ended in March. Like I had to scratch things out, and then you see like May, June, July empty because I was still working, but I'm not going out and traveling. Now, being on It's Happening, it's great. Thank you again for always having such a good home, being such a good home for me. But I'm finally starting to get invites to be, all via Zoom and lectures. So just going out there and seeing people in person, talking to folks, like it's one thing to do this. I don't mind that, but it's a whole other magic when it's in person, reacting to people and all that. So that's what I'm going to miss, just going out there, and being invited to talk to people again in a way that's outside of the, Zoom.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So plugs for any upcoming or, books or.
I posted it on Facebook. I'll probably post it after this, sign up for my weekly newsletter, GustavoArellano.org. I just send it every Saturday morning, just a compendium of everything I've written for the particular week, a little life lesson as well, some plugs for other people as well. And also what I've been doing mostly recently, every Tuesday night at 10:15 at night Pacific time, I do on Instagram Live what I call Grita Leguti. And Grita Leguti is just 1 hour of me taking questions about anything. I know Jose's been there. A lot of Santaneros, because they like me going off on Santana politics, but it's literally whatever people ask me. Someone asked me about comets the other day. I'm like, what the fuck do I know about comets? But I talked about comets.
Fuck comets.
But no, be careful of comets. But I talked about them for like 5 minutes, which was 5 minutes more than I've ever talked about comments in my life, but that's how much of a nerd I am. So it's a lot of fun. So Grita Leguti, follow me on Instagram, Gustavo_Arellano, and you can follow me there. And then, I post them later on and all that. But yeah, and other than that, of course, go to my wife's store, Alta Baja Market. She's been open throughout this whole pandemic. Get good Mexican craft beers and wines there. And, she's open for in-person dining, all socially distanced, all COVID safe. Really good food, really, really good food. That's my office away from my office, so you'll most likely see me there in my Dickies shorts and my funk freak shirt and my huaraches, just being me, being a cholo nerd.
There you go.
Yeah, cholo nerd. Damn, that's a thing, man. Yeah. So once again, Gustavo Desmadre. Yeah, bringing the Desmadre, to our here podcast. So once again, Thank you so much, Gustavo Arellano, from the LA Times columnist, OC, and all around badass. Yeah, we hope to catch up with you soon, and hopefully tomorrow we will be rejoicing for Santa Ana Spring Part 2.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, that sticks.
The real Santa Ana Spring of Orange County. Yeah.
Santa Ana Spring, the comeback.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Gustavo.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Yeah. So that was Gustavo Arellano, formerly
The one, the
OC
only.
Weekly, the one and only.
Mhm.
Yeah, author, taco connoisseur. Yeah, just uncancelable. Gustavo Arellano. So he's gonna run for office. That's I think
One day. Looks like he could form an interesting base of unlikely allies to oppose him. So like I don't know if anyone's read the novel, a Kurt Vonnegut novel. What was it called? The Sirens of Titan. He could run a similar campaign where it's like the point of the novel was that someone made a fake outside Martian enemy and finally Earthlings united together for once. So maybe Gustavo could, run a fake campaign that gathers all of his haters, which is just the American public at large. Typically. I mean, that's kind of how we explained it. It's just like your average, normal, like thinking person. would hate him. They hate him. So like you could make this really powerful voting block, bipartisan voting block, just on the issue of Gustavo himself.
I think so.
It's a noble thing.
Everybody unifies over their disdain of Gustavo. Is that what you're saying? Like,
It would be a beautiful martyrdom.
Yeah.
We'll see what he has in store for us.
We'll see.
Don't underestimate this man.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. So once again, thank you everybody that joined us for the first time. Please like, follow, click that subscribe button.
Smash it. Bam, 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 bam. Click that bell. YouTube's glitched, and it always unsubscribes you, You subscribe.
Yeah, we are on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on all the things.
Just send petty loose cash to Jose's home address.
And we're on our engineer's last nerve because he's like desperately telling us to wrap it up. Wrap it up, B. Wrap it up.
The hook's coming out, Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hey! Yeah, just like.
All right. I want to thank everybody that tuned in for the first time again. And all of our top fans. You know who you are. You have your badge. Protect the results, folks.
May the force be with you.
Don't get hurt. Stay away from the white supremacists, please. Like, it's not worth it.
And if you live in Santa Ana, the OC Register of Voters is here. You can literally just hand your vote in there. I mean, it's kind of the same at the voting centers. Yeah,
you can turn in your ballot literally in any one of the voting centers in Orange County.
Correct.
Vote in person, regardless of what city you live in. So as we mentioned, no excuse to not vote. Please get out to vote. If you don't care,
it's the only thing you can do, and it's the only answer.
Yeah, if and whatever.
Wait.
What
show is this? Oh wait, no. Okay, sorry, wrong show.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard any people saying like voting doesn't matter that much anymore. In the lefty crew, or maybe they just
it's out of vogue,
tapped out. But anyways, so man, next week when we come back, it's going to be a different country, hopefully a better one, hopefully a better Santana, better Anaheim, a better Orange County, as a whole. But I very highly doubt it, just in that it'll be a learning curve to relearn how to be humans again and how to get adapted to the new reality that we find ourselves in. But us people, we're survivors. We've survived this long. We have to stick together. We have to, make sure that we keep each other safe. But I am for legit shitting bricks, and I will be tomorrow night. Looking at the results, which will be popping up soon after 8 p.m. But so I want to thank audio video engineer Nova for being an awesome patient. Yeah. So shout out to him. Shout out to Dylan Thompson, his loved ones. And he stayed, stayed loving and strong.
What I did.
Yeah. Thank all of our viewers. And of course, thank the one and only Gustavo Arellano.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So hope to get him back on sometime soon so we can talk about all the predictions.
Maybe in the next 10 seconds. Even.
And then, then he'll come back and then he'll tell us like where he was right and where he was wrong. So,
mostly right.
Mostly, I'm sure. Gustardon. All right, everybody, from Dylan Thompson, that guy, and Jose Gloria, and all of us here in the Tap of the family, we are signing up.
It's happening.
Para no ver lo que es verdad, te han engañado, no es libertad, lo que tú vives es vulgar, ser un esclavo sin descansar mientras que el burgués se aprovecha de tus labores, hay que luchar para vencer este sistema capitalista.